When my house burned down, my family showed up, not to help, but to laugh. Finally, karma torched the trash. My dad looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You brought this on yourself. Some people are just cursed." I just stared back and whispered, "Thanks for showing your true faces." That was 2 years ago. A week ago, I took action they weren't prepared for. Today, they've been calling non-stop, screaming, "You have to fix this. Please pick up." I don't even know how to start this, but whatever. Here goes. This was 2 years ago, and I still think about it every damn week. I guess that's normal when stuff goes sideways in a way you never expect from people who are supposed to have your back. Not that my family ever really did, if I'm being honest, but I always kinda thought when things got serious, they'd at least pretend. I'm Brayden. I'm 27 now. I moved out a while back because my family is, I don't know, not toxic in the way Reddit loves to say, just competitive and cold. Like everyone's always trying to prove they're better. My dad especially. He's always been the big man. Everything's a contest. My older brother Carson's like a clone of him, always got something to say about how people need to take responsibility and man up. My sister Nicole, she'll smile in your face and send screenshots of your texts to the family group chat later. Mom just tries to keep everyone from killing each other, but she's got that "I warned you" look down to an art. So anyway, I'd scraped together enough for this old rental house. Nothing special, but it was mine, it was quiet, and I could have my own life. First couple months were good. I had my own routines. Nobody breathing down my neck. I didn't invite people over. Didn't have family dinners. Just did my own thing. I know they all thought I'd fail, but honestly, I was fine with that. Kept my head down, paid my own bills, sorted my own stuff. Didn't ask them for anything. Not even when my car battery died and I had to Uber to the groceries for a week. Then one night, everything just went sideways. I'd been up late, probably doom scrolling on my phone, when I smelled smoke. At first I thought maybe I left something on, but the fire alarm started going off and I realized it was real. I grabbed my phone, wallet, keys, didn't even put on shoes, just bolted out. The fire department came fast, but the house was old, and by the time they got it under control, half the place was black. I just stood there on the curb watching my stuff go up. And honestly, I felt weirdly blank, like I should be freaking out, but my brain was just stuck on repeat. Anyway, I called Carson because I didn't know who else to call, and he actually picked up. I told him what happened. Said I just needed a ride or something. He said he'd come by. I thought maybe, just maybe, this was the moment someone would step up. Not 20 minutes later, my whole family rolled up. Not just Carson, but Dad, Nicole, her fiancé who I barely know, and Mom. They all got out, and for a second I thought, okay, maybe they're here to help. But then Carson walked right past me, pulled out his phone, and started filming the house. He was laughing. Like full-on laughing. Dad was right behind him, shaking his head, not even looking at me. Nicole got out, heels sinking into the grass, and goes, "Wow, karma really does work." She started taking selfies with the house in the background like she was at some influencer event. Her fiancé just stood there watching. Mom hung back by the car, arms crossed, not saying anything. I tried to talk, but my throat was dry, so I just leaned against the mailbox and watched them. Carson kept making comments like, "Guess that's what happens when you bail on your family, huh? Some people are just cursed, man." Dad looked at me dead in the eyes and said, "You brought this on yourself. Some people just attract bad luck." I stared at him and said, "Thanks for showing your true faces." I didn't even raise my voice, just said it. He shrugged and turned away. I guess I should have expected it. But man, it was still a punch. Carson kept walking over, slapped me on the shoulder, not hard, but not gentle either, and said, "Tough break, bro." I pushed his hand off. He smirked and backed away. Nicole was talking about how she'd always known something was off about this place and how it was so typical that I'd be the one to have a house fire. Her fiancé tried to get her to leave, but she just rolled her eyes and kept snapping pics. I told her to stop and she said, "What? It's not like you're gonna post them." I told her to delete them or I'd grab her phone. I actually reached for it, she jerked it away, then slapped my hand. I stepped back. Didn't want to get into it right there, especially with the neighbors watching. Dad started telling me I needed to learn from this and how maybe now I'd see why the family sticks together. I said, yeah, great family. He rolled his eyes, walked back to the car, slammed the door. Mom finally came over, handed me a bottle of water, said, you should come home tonight. I told her I'd figure it out. She shrugged, said she tried. They stayed for maybe 15 minutes, just long enough for the fire trucks to leave. Carson kept pacing around, taking calls, acting like he was in charge. He even told one of the firemen he was my emergency contact and tried to get info about the cause. I heard him say, yeah, he's always had bad luck with stuff like this. The fireman just nodded and walked off. When they finally left, Nicole slammed the car door so hard the whole thing shook. I just stood there watching the taillights. Some of the neighbors came over, asked if I was okay, if I needed a place to crash. I said I'd figure it out. I didn't want to owe anyone anything. The next day I got a text from Carson, just a pic of the burned house with a crying laughing emoji. I didn't respond. Nicole posted a pic of her and her fiancé at brunch captioned, some people just can't help burning bridges. Mom called once, left a voicemail saying she hoped I was okay and to let her know if I changed my mind about coming home. Dad didn't call at all. I guess that's just how things are in my family. If you don't play the game, you're fair game. I was always the odd one out because I wouldn't take sides in their stupid feuds, wouldn't help Dad with his projects, wouldn't help Carson with his endless drama, wouldn't babysit for Nicole when she needed a backup. I went my own way and they hated that. They said I was selfish, ungrateful, whatever. I never bought into it. But when you see them standing in front of your burned house laughing, yeah, it hits different. I stayed with a friend for a while, worked out the insurance stuff, found somewhere else to live. I didn't talk to my family for a long time after that. I just kept thinking about the way Dad looked at me, like I was a mess he'd warned everyone about. I kept thinking about what he said, some people are just cursed. Like, what did I ever do that was so bad? I didn't steal from them. Didn't screw them over. Just didn't want to play their games. I promised myself that night I'd never let them get the upper hand again. I know how they work. I know what matters to them. I wasn't gonna sit there and let them treat me like trash. Not anymore. I've got receipts. I've got patience. And I don't forget. That's part 1. Part 2 gets a lot more interesting. Trust me. Alright, here's part 2. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I wish I was. Maybe this will just sound petty to some people, but if you've ever had family like mine, you know exactly how this stuff doesn't just stop after one bad night. It's like they keep finding little ways to remind you you're not one of them. You never were. And they're winning. I see you if you get it. Fast forward a couple months after the fire. I'm crashing on a friend's old futon. Insurance is dragging things out like always. I don't really have much besides what I threw in my backpack that night. I'm not broke, just tired. Rebuilding from scratch is annoying. Everything takes longer than you expect. I kinda figured my family would just let me fade out of the group chat and move on. But that's not how it went. The weirdest part is how they'd go silent for weeks, then pop up out of nowhere. First time was maybe 2 months after. I wake up and see I'm tagged in the family group chat. It's a meme. Someone edited a pic of a dumpster on fire and put Braden's housewarming party on it. Carson reacts with the skull emoji. Nicole adds crying laughing. Dad doesn't say anything. Mom sends a sticker of a sad puppy, which is about as much as she ever does. I don't respond. I think about muting the chat, but I don't. Part of me wants to see what they'll do next. Part of me just doesn't want to give them the satisfaction. It's always stuff like that. Never direct, always side-eyed. I get a text from Nicole on my birthday that just says, "Hope you're not celebrating with candles, ol." Once I posted a pic of my new apartment on Insta and Carson immediately comments, "Looks flammable." He deletes it after a couple hours. Like he wants me to know he's watching, but doesn't want to give anyone else ammo. I start getting used to it, But some days it just pisses me off more than I want to admit. None of this is random. My family's always been like this with me. I was the one who said no when Dad wanted me to join the family projects, basically just unpaid labor for his hobbies. I was the one who called out Carson for talking down to everyone. I was the one who told Mom I wasn't gonna keep playing nice with Nicole when she'd steal my stuff growing up. They always acted like I was the weak link, the one who was too sensitive or couldn't take a joke. They like having someone to kick around. It gives them something to talk about at dinner. About a year after the fire, I get invited to Nicole's engagement party. I almost laugh. She sends me the invite on Snapchat, not even a real text, says something like, "Hope you can make it. Don't burn the place down." I leave her on read. Then I see the family group chat blowing up the night of the party. Group pics, cheers. Someone posted a poll about who's most likely to ruin the night. Carson votes for me even though I'm not there. Later Nicole DMs me a video of them all at some fancy restaurant. She pans the camera over everyone, then zooms into the empty chair at the end of the table and says, "Guess who's missing?" Her fiancé in the background goes, "I bet he's hiding from the fire marshal." I block her for a while. After that I see Mom at the store every now and then. She always tries to act like things are normal, asks if I need anything. I say no. She says the family's worried about me. I laugh. She says I should come by for Sunday dinner. I say I'm busy. Sometimes she'll try to guilt me. Dad isn't getting any younger, Carson's got a new job, Nicole's wedding is coming up and she wants everyone there. I nod. Keep moving. She never brings up the fire. I don't either. Carson's always flexing in the group chat. Just bought a new car, can't relate to rental life, posting pics of his backyard with the caption "Home Sweet Home." He changed his profile pic to a cartoon of a guy running from a burning building for like a month, then switched it back. I never reply, but I do screenshot everything. At some point I realize I'm keeping a folder on my phone of all the crap they send. Every little slight, every meme, every accidental dig. I don't even know why at first, but it feels like ammo. Like I'm not gonna let them act like this never happened. Every once in a while someone outside the family asks what happened with the fire. I just say insurance mess, moved, whatever. I can tell they don't totally buy it. One time a mutual friend asks if it's true my family took selfies at the scene. I say you'd have to ask them. Later I get a text from Carson, "Stop spreading lies about us." I tell him to mind his own business. He says maybe if you'd stuck with the family, bad things wouldn't happen to you. I send him a thumbs up. He blocks me for a month, then unblocks me like nothing happened. I start getting more deliberate about what I say to them. If they ask for help with anything, Wi-Fi, phone issues, random tech crap, they always assume I'll just do it because I owe them for all the times they helped me, which is never. I stop replying, or I say I'm busy, or I say I don't know how. They get annoyed, start making snide remarks in the group chat. Carson says, "Guess some people never learn gratitude." Dad says, "Well, you know what they say about burned bridges." I let them talk. Nicole's wedding is coming up and suddenly she's texting me again, acting all friendly, asking if I can help set up her wedding website, saying she needs someone reliable because her friends are useless. I ask her if she remembers the fire. She says, "OMG, that was 2 years ago, let it go." I say, "Sure, I'll help." She never apologizes. She sends a gif of a dumpster fire, then blocks me for a week. I get a call from her fiancé saying I'm being childish. I hang up. Dad still never calls. Mom leaves voicemails saying I'm missing out on family memories, that I shouldn't hold grudges. I don't call back. I see Carson post about family first on Facebook with a photo of everyone at dinner except me. I think about commenting, but nah, not worth it. I just keep collecting screenshots. One night I'm out with a friend and I get a notification. Nicole tagged me on Insta. It's a pic of a cake with a little house on fire on top. Caption, "Happy Burnsary." I laugh, but it's not funny. My friend asks if I'm gonna say anything. I say, not yet. I start thinking about how much leverage I actually have. All those times I fixed their stuff, set up their accounts, handled their passwords because they couldn't be bothered to learn. All the favors I did for free. All the times I bailed them out when their stuff broke. I realized they have no idea how much they rely on me for the little things. And not just tech stuff, Nicole's wedding website, Carson's playlists, Dad's calendar reminders, even Mom's phone contacts. It's all stuff I set up. They never changed it, never bothered. I wonder how long they'd last if I just stopped. I know it sounds petty, but if you've ever been made to feel like the family joke, like your pain is entertainment, you get it. At some point you stop playing nice. You stop waiting for them to get it. You start thinking about what it would look like if you took back what's yours. I'm not saying I had a full plan at this point, but the idea was there. I started keeping receipts for a reason. I started saying no for a reason. I stopped trying to make peace for a reason. And when they started ramping up, when Nicole's wedding got closer, when Carson needed stuff, when Dad started asking for help again. Yeah, I knew what I was going to do next. This is where it gets real. Promise. They had no clue what was coming. So this is where it actually gets interesting. TBH, it almost felt weird how the setup basically just landed in my lap, but I guess that's what happens when people get used to having you around only for the stuff they don't want to learn themselves. If you read the first parts, you know my family's been grinding me down with their jokes and digs for years. After the fire it was just non-stop. I kept my head down for a while, but after the happy burnsary thing, I started paying close attention to what they actually needed from me. Little stuff starts popping up. Carson texts me at night. Hey, did you ever get that old toolbox of Dad's? I want to borrow the drill. I check my closet. Yeah, I still got all those tools Dad dumped on me when I moved out. He said keep them. He was getting new ones. Now Carson wants them back for some backyard project. I tell him, come pick them up if you want them. He says he's too busy, can I just drop them off? I say no, I'm working late. Not true, but whatever. He gets annoyed, says I never help with anything, then sends a voice note going off about how I only think about myself. Then there's Nicole, keeps texting me about her wedding website. Never says thank you, just urgent messages about adding RSVPs, fixing errors, updating the registry. Says her friends are useless and I'm the only one who gets it. I start dragging my feet. Tell her I'm busy. She threatens to find someone else. I say go for it. She doesn't. Instead she calls Mom and complains. Then I get a call from Mom asking why I'm making things difficult. I say I'm not, I just got stuff going on. Mom sighs and says, well, try to help. It's family. Dad's the worst. He's got some calendar and contact stuff I set up for him like 3 years ago, and now he keeps texting me because it's all out of sync. Says, you need to fix this before I miss something important. I tell him to call tech support. He says, you are tech support. I leave him on read. Here's the thing, I finally realized how dependent they are on me for all the annoying little things they never wanted to learn. They talk a big game, but when push comes to shove, I'm the one who set up their Wi-Fi, connected their smart home stuff, programmed their streaming apps, built their group playlists, even handled password resets for their dumb email accounts. They think it's nothing. They forget it all takes time, and that I know where all the bodies are buried. So I start pulling away, but not just ignoring them. I decide to make it clear. First, I box up the tools and text the family group chat, last call on these. Picking up or tossing. Carson says, just bring them, I'll pay gas. I say come get them yourself. He pushes. I say no. He gets mad, calls me soft. Dad chimes in, says I'm being petty. I say you left them at my place for 3 years, not my problem. Nicole's website starts having issues, her fault, she changed a setting, and now she's texting in all caps. I tell her I'll fix it when I have time. She says my attitude is ruining her wedding. I say maybe ask someone else. She tries to guilt me, says I'm letting down the family. I send a thumbs up. She calls. I don't answer. Next day she shows up at my door, bangs until I open, starts yelling that I'm sabotaging her big day. I tell her to get off my porch. She tries to push past me. I block the door with my foot. She slaps my arm. I push her back. She screams I'm dead to her, stomps off, slams her car door. Dad calls later, starts ranting about respect and loyalty and how I'm embarrassing the family. I hang up before he finishes. Carson texts, "Bro, you're being crazy." I don't answer. I get a string of missed calls. I mute my phone. Then I start actually pulling the plug. Not just ignoring them, actively walking back everything I ever set up. I log into all the accounts where I'm the admin and remove myself from everything. Change the passwords on anything in my name and tell them, if you want access, set it up yourselves. I delete myself from their group subscriptions I'd been paying for out of habit. I reset the Wi-Fi routers I bought for them years ago, text the new login to the family chat, then log out for good. I send Carson a calendar invite to pick up the tools or lose them. He doesn't show. I sell the whole box on Facebook Marketplace for $50. Tell him after he calls screaming, I let it go to voicemail. Nicole's wedding site finally crashes completely. She loses her RSVP list. Texts me non-stop. Threatens to come over again. I block her number. Mom texts saying I'm causing drama, that I should just apologize. I don't answer. The best part, I know how much they rely on all this. Dad can't access his contacts or calendar anymore. Carson's backyard project is on hold because he can't find good tools. Nicole's wedding is in chaos, registry down, half her guests can't find the location. I know because they all start blowing up the group chat, blaming each other, blaming me, demanding I fix it. I don't say a word. I see Carson at a gas station a few days later. He walks up, tries to act tough, says I'm ruining everything for no reason. I tell him, you made your choices, now deal with it. He tries to shove me. I shove him back. He calls me a loser. I tell him to grow up. He storms off, slams his car door, peels out. It's wild how fast they go from acting like you're worthless to acting like you're essential when things start breaking down. I start getting texts from people I barely know, Nicole's friends, Carson's girlfriend, even Mom's book club buddy, asking if I can help. I ignore them all. It's not about the tech or the tools or the stupid wedding. It's about them needing me and never wanting to admit it. And now they finally see what it's like when I'm not there to mop up their mess. They're not stupid, but they're so used to me being the fall guy they never saw it coming. End of the day, I don't feel bad. Not even a little. They lit the match. I just let the fire burn out. Next part is basically the fallout. They start getting desperate. Calls, texts, even showing up at my place. It gets louder. Not my problem. This is the part that actually made me laugh. Final update. I figured when stuff finally started falling apart for them, they'd just ignore it like they always do, or try to fix it themselves and act like they never needed me. But nah, it did not go down like that. What really got me was how fast it all hit. Like once one thing broke, the dominoes started falling, and the desperation was actually wild. I still laugh about it sometimes. First weird thing I noticed. My phone blowing up early one morning. Not just a couple texts. Over 40 notifications, missed calls, voicemails, even Facebook messages from people I haven't talked to since high school. I check and it's all my family, plus a bunch of randos, even Nicole's fiancé. The group chat is straight chaos. Carson tagging everyone, Braden, you need to fix this now. Dad saying, this is out of hand, call me ASAP. Nicole in full meltdown mode with all caps and exclamation points. It actually took me a second to figure out what the emergency even was because it was just endless scrolling. So I'm sitting there making coffee, open my messages. Dad sent like 4 voicemails in a row, all basically the same. He can't get into his email, his calendar is wiped, he's got meetings he can't reschedule, now he's missing calls because his contacts are gone. Carson is losing it because his home Wi-Fi is down and he can't work, and the whole family group playlist disappeared off his phone. Nicole is on a different planet, sending screenshots of her wedding guest list missing, registry broken, friends mad because they can't RSVP. Her fiancé texting me saying whatever's going on, please just sort it out. I let it sit for a bit. Just scrolling TikTok, eating cereal, waiting to see if they'll give up. They don't. The group chat goes from angry to desperate. At one point Nicole says, You are ruining my life on purpose. I actually start laughing. Dad tries the guilt thing. This is family business. You need to step up. Carson threatens to drive over and settle this. I put my phone on silent. By noon, Mom shows up at my door, which I should have expected, but didn't. She's knocking, calling my name. We just need to talk, just come outside. I open the door a crack. She's all, don't do this. They're all losing it. Why can't you just fix it? I tell her I'm done. I told everyone I was done. They're on their own. She tries to step inside. I block the door. She sighs, says, "You're really gonna let the whole family fall apart over a few mistakes?" I say, "It's not my problem, Mom. They made their choices." She pats my shoulder. I pull back. She turns and leaves, slams her car door. About an hour later, Carson actually shows up. He's hot, comes right up, starts yelling from the porch that I'm being a child. This is all my fault. Nobody else would do this to their blood. I tell him to leave. He pushes past me. I shove him back down the steps. He tries to slap my arm. I block him. He kicks the door frame, swears at me, storms back to his car, sits there for 10 minutes before peeling out. Nicole tries calling me on every app she can think of, Snap, Insta, even Telegram. I block her everywhere. She leaves voicemails crying and swearing, then calls back with her fiancé yelling in the background. I don't pick up once. Later I get a text from one of her friends. "You're being really unfair, you're ruining everything for Nicole." I block her too. I hear from a cousin that Dad's business stuff is actually tanking. His missing appointments, had to reschedule a bunch last minute because his contacts are a mess and nobody can figure out the system I set up. Carson's girlfriend posts on her story about people who sabotage family and tags me. I reply with a fire emoji and block her too. The group chat is just a wall of messages now, all caps, all day, every day. "You have to fix this. Please pick up. You're destroying the family. You're selfish. You're cursed." And on and on. They even try to get other people to talk to me, an uncle I haven't seen in years, a family friend from church, Mom's book club lady. I ignore all of them. I see Carson one more time at the store. He tries to block my path, says, "Just fix it and we'll forgive you." I laugh and keep walking. He grabs my arm. I shrug him off. He mutters something about never talking to me again. I say, "Good," and walk out. The only one who sort of gets it is Mom. She calls one more time, leaves a voicemail that's mostly silence, then says, "I hope you're happy. You got what you wanted." I delete it. Now it's just quiet. I still get random calls, still get blocked and unblocked, still get the occasional guilt trip message, but I'm out. They're on their own. And I'm not swooping in to save anybody. Not after what they did. Not after years of being the family joke, the punching bag, the cursed one. If you read all of this, I guess you get why I did what I did. I'm not sorry. I'm not fixing anything. They wanted me out. Now they get to see what that actually means. I'm not saying I won, or that life's perfect now. But at least I can say I finally stopped playing their game. They're still calling, still yelling, still begging. Not my problem. I'm good. Appreciate the people who stuck with the updates, for real. I know this isn't some movie ending or whatever, but honestly, sometimes just walking away is the only real move you get. If you've ever been the scapegoat and finally fought back, I see you. I'll be chilling, blocking numbers, living rent-free in their heads forever.